All right, guys. Well, it's 10:03, and I know all of your all's time is very valuable, and I really appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to learn about something that's very important to your business. And today we're talking about MoxiEngage. And MoxiEngage is your CRM. And I know we have some new agents in the room, and I don't know what your sales backgrounds might be, but a CRM is a customer relationship manager. So this is essentially a way for you to keep in touch with your clients, with your past clients, with your future clients, your leads, your sphere of influence. MoxiEngage is a very sphere of influence focused CRM, which is awesome because that's really what's going to help you have longevity in the life of your real estate for you, is keeping in front of your sphere of influence. As some agents here that have been in the business for a long time, what tends to happen after a while is we stop getting in touch with our past clients and we stop getting in touch with our current clients because we're so busy. So they might end up choosing another real estate agent in the future. And you're wondering why that happened. It's because, oh, they didn't know you were in the business anymore because you hadn't talked to them or hadn't reached out to them. So that's in a very quick nutshell, what a CRM is and the benefit. And it's really, if you talk to our top producing agents, our agents that have been in the business for a long time. Robin's in the room with us right now. The difference between a long-term agent and an agent that doesn't last very long, I think, can be as simple as something like a CRM. They have something that's organizing themselves to keep their clients in front of them. So it's really that important. And, in our business, just like any sales businesses, you've heard like the 20% of the people do 80% of the business. And that is a very real thing. And those top 20%, they are using a CRM. And that's why it's so important. And you guys are all taking the correct first step by doing that. So let's jump in. I just wanted to give some of you a little bit of a background on what a CRM is, if you didn't know that. Hopefully everybody's been able to log in, but if not, I'll quickly go through that to show you guys where to go. But you would go to Coldwell Banker Desk is the easiest place to log in first. And that, if you don't know, that is login.coldwellbanker.com. Your login is going to be your first name dot last name at coldwellbanker.com. You would drop the Elite from that login and you're going to go ahead and sign in. And this takes you to Coldwell Banker Desk. It gives you all the different things that you can jump into. If you don't see MoxieWorks right here where mine is at, all these tabs can be moved around. So you can grab the tab, it might be down towards the bottom, and then shuffle it up towards the top. I'm also a big fan of bookmarks. As you can see across the top here, all these various bookmarks. I have a real estate folder, and then you can go through and bookmark these things so you're not having to type in that each time. So you're going to go into MoxiWorks. MoxiWorks is a large suite of several different items, which you can see across the top here. Moxie Present. This is for your listing presentations or your buyer presentations. MoxiEngage, which we'll be going over today. My website, which is your Moxie website, which is an awesome website. I'll be doing a webinar very similar to this next Thursday on the websites. Moxie Impress, that is when you have an actual listing. You can create flyers, you can create a website. For those of you who've been with the company for a while, it's very similar to what Paradigm, the things that Paradigm does is what Impress does. And then Promote is a way for you to create Facebook ads about your listings, about yourself, and ads that go across the internet. So you guys can check that out later too. But this is your dashboard, gives you some details about yourself in here. A couple things some of you have noticed, especially when you're trying to edit the website, certain things like your bio, your social media links, it doesn't allow you to edit those. And those would need to be edited by Marilyn. So you just send her an email and she'll update your bio. And the reason for that is when she updates your bio, it updates in Present, it updates in Engage, it updates on your website. So it does it across the board for you. So you're not having to change that. If you wanted to change your Facebook business page, I know Angelo and I have talked about Facebook business. So if you update that or you update your Instagram link, you want to send those to Marilyn and she can update those for you very quickly. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping there. But you're going to then click on Engage, and that's going to take you right into MoxiEngage. And this is the MoxiEngage dashboard. Now, the first time that you guys log in, it's going to take you through some steps to get your accounts connected. you have the choice to connect to two different options. You can connect to your CBE Outlook, your Office 365 account, or you can connect to your Google account, a Gmail account. And what's very important, a lot of you've probably already done these steps, and I can't go back to show you those steps once you've gone through, but your contacts come in from those sources. Okay, so whatever contacts you have in Office 365 or whatever contacts you have in your Google account are the contacts that are going to come into Engage, and they're going to sync together. And anytime you add a contact to your Google account or to your Office 365, it automatically becomes a contact within Engage. Okay, so it's really cool. It's linked that way. I just want to tell you that if you haven't already done those steps, because sometimes you might have way too many contacts in there that you don't want to bring, that aren't your real estate contacts. So you want to clean those up before you make the connection into Engage. They have now, since even before that I started doing this, they have a option to migrate. So some of you, I'm not sure, let me see who's in the room here. If you are a big Zap user, you're now able to migrate over from Zap, bringing in all your contacts and everything you did with them into Engage. You can see right here, I skipped that step just so I can show you guys what happens if you skip it. There's a little button over here to migrate to Engage. And I don't know if we have anybody that that was heavily using that. And if you were, we can talk more about that. But it gives you a pop-up saying, here's how you migrate over. You can only do the migration one time. So you want to make sure that same kind of thing, you've cleaned up your Zap contacts and you're making sure that's all set up. A couple other things about my classes. I want you guys to ask any questions that you have. You can unmute yourself. That's perfectly fine. I have the chat pulled up over here so you can drop the chat into it. I would like for it to be as interactive as possible. Questions that you have, things that you are looking to get out of Engage, if you're moving from another CRM, or just questions you have in general. So don't hesitate to just raise your hand and ask a question or just speak up. So let's dive in here a little bit more. So this is where you guys will land every time you log into Engage. This is called the dashboard. Okay, so it has a little good morning on here, and I think it changes depending on the time of day that it is. But first of all these little tabs, stay in flow, to-do list, calendar, activity feed, sales flow, you can just shuffle those around however you like, whatever fits best for you. I 100% recommend for every single one of you that stay in flow is at the top. I think this is the most important part about the dashboard. It's the most important part about a CRM, and it's why it's a SOI, sphere of influence, focused CRM. Every day, it's going to give you 5 people that you should get in touch with. Okay, so you can see on here, you have Jane W, Jim S, Trisha S, Brett L, and Kendra L, and it says that I need to reach out to them. And it gives you a little bit of details about them. Okay, it'll tell you, so this says February 2022 in this address. So you can go in, I'll show you later, and add in your past transactions, okay, closings that you have. And for those of you that are just starting out, when you get a new closing, you're going to want to connect that to that buyer so they're in there, because that would be referencing. So Jim and Trisha bought 9809 Danford. It says February 2022 because that's when I started this up, but they actually purchased, that house 3 years ago. But you want to start connecting this, because as your business grows, as you have years later, you might forget. It might be 5 years ago since you sold them that house. And when they reach out to you, you want to have a quick way to find out, what did you guys do? What house are they at? If you've not been doing your job and had not really stayed in touch with them. So, so we have these right here, 5 every single day. After you check in with these 5 people, tomorrow it's going to populate 5 more people. So let's look at Jim here. And it kind of gives you some ideas of things that you've done with them recently. So the transaction moved from pending to completed zone. And I did that to get them up to speed, because this is a new CRM and I didn't have it when I worked with them. And you click on this reach out button and it gives you some options right here of how to reach out with Jim. Okay. So you could mail a personal note. A handwritten note is still very, very powerful. And it gives you the address right in here. You can call them. If you have, I know on my MacBook, if I hit this call right here, it's actually going to pull up a little thing that's going to allow me to call straight from my iPhone right in the system. So you can make it very easy to do that. You can email them, and it gives you all their email addresses that you have on file with them. Neighborhood news, and I'm trying to occasionally hear people are jumping in the room, so I gotta allow them in. Neighborhood news is really awesome. And so I don't forget, we'll just jump right into that as it's an option right now. Neighborhood news is a once a month campaign that is sent out to your clients, giving them a market update on what's going on. So you can do a quick one. A quick one is going to be based off of their zip code. Okay, so just a full area of their zip code, or you can do a custom one, which is very specific. Do you have a question, Malin?
Yes, sir. You
Go
said
ahead.
that you can call on your iPhone. Is that the only one you can use, or is that just what?
No, what I meant was, so it's pulling up the phone number. So you would
Uh,
just, on your phone, if you had an Android, you could just type in the phone number if you didn't have them saved as a contact. But it might work on a PC. I'm just not sure when you click on this if it'll actually pull up a phone call for you on everyone's computer. If it doesn't, it's still giving you the phone number saying, here's how you dial this phone number to call them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to show you guys neighborhood news, doing just a quick neighborhood news. So we'll click on that, and that's going to be the zip code there. And it's loading up here. Oh. Let's see here, just refresh quick. There we go. Okay, can you guys all see that? Did that pull up the add to neighborhood news? Okay, so over here to the right is going to add, I can choose which email address that I want to add to neighborhood news, the zip code that I want to send it. This is the email that's going to be sent to him, and you can go in here and change this to whatever you'd like. When it has these bold things right here, it means it's going to fill in the zip code, like it's going to fill in 22407. It's going to fill in the link that they can go to are going to be included in those capital letter items. Then you would just go down to done, and you're set. Once a month, they're going to get an email going out to them. And I'm going to show you guys what that email looks like. I think this is a really powerful tool for you guys to use. I look at this as like a listing lead opportunity. Okay, so this is going to be for people that, and it doesn't have to be, but for homeowners, people you know that already own a home, this is a great thing to send out to them. It's going to show them what houses are selling near to them. Because remember, you can do a custom search too. So you could do just the Idlewild neighborhood, or just Fawn Lake, or just Embry Mill. You can go out and lay out the area that's going to be. In this case, we're just doing the zip code. But this is what the email looks like. So on a sidebar, what I recommend for everybody here is that you create a dummy account. And I'll show you guys, I have a couple in here. I have one under my own name. I have one under somebody called Moxie. Robin gave me that tip last time. You might not want to call them your name, but just make up a fake name, but put your real email address in there and test all these things out. Making sure, like, for example, this email comes out, has my name on here, has my picture. Make sure that everything's looking good when it's going to your clients before you do it for the first time, sending it out to all your clients. The neighborhood news would not be normally highlighted in yellow. It's doing that because that's what I searched here. But it has a neighborhood news, and it says view the full report. They can either do that, or they can go down here and see the listings that are basically active right near within that search results that you gave them, so they can get a good idea of what's going on in their area. Trends in the surrounding market, so they can scroll through here and there's market changes showing them how many active, and it's up 1%. Sold homes is up 39%. The median price is down just a little bit, giving them just some key numbers for them to take a look at. But the real power is in the full report, or if they click on one of the listings here, it's going to take them into your full report online. You could share this, this particular link with people if you were doing it for just a zip code. But I think it just looks really good, very professional, has a nice look to it. Shows there's 16 listings for them. So they all have them through here. They can click on a listing and get more details on it. Just keep scrolling down. So it breaks out here. And anything where it says contact agent, that's going to be them contacting you for information on it. So we're going to hit view details. And again, this is not my listing. Everything on here that they're looking at looks like, maybe it looks like it's actually Sarah's. She's one of ours. I actually just saw this in her feed the other day. That's why I clicked on it. But it is allowing them to contact you. Okay, but it's giving them details if they like this home, for example, or they just wanted more information. So let me go, and then they can go through all the pictures of the house. Go back to it here. And you can see here, now they have more details to look at. It just looks great. This is all coming from you once a month. I always recommend to people at a very minimum that you are touching your clients with an email once a month. But I'm going to recommend kind of moving forward that you do this neighborhood news, a market update once a month, and then you're giving them a content email, which I'm going to show you later from a campaign like home security tips or home energy saving tips once a month also. So they're getting every 2 weeks, they're getting an email from you that's all really great information, and it's all showing that you're an expert in your field. And when it comes 5 years from now, 6 months from now, that they're ready to sell their home, that they're thinking of you first, oh, I know Lisa's been sending me all these emails. Lisa is the one to go to. I'm going to reach out to her. Deborah's just been giving me market updates, and showing me what all my neighbors' houses are selling for and what's active and what's not. I know that I need to reach out to her because she knows what's going on. It also has a really nice mortgage calculator in here for them that they can take a look at. So I think this is something you guys should definitely look at, and they can actually switch here and go to sold homes. See, so this is going to show them the homes that have sold nearby. And most people are nosy neighbors, right? We all want to know, hey, I know my neighbor's house just sold. What did it sell for? And you're going to be giving them that information on a monthly basis. So this is a pretty great tool that I think you should all be utilizing with your clients. Any questions on neighborhood news or how to use that? Okay. Guys are so quiet, no questions. Guess that's good. I'm clearly explaining it to you all. Okay, so let's jump back into Engage. So if, for example, if Jim was already set up on neighborhood news, it's not going to give that as an example of what to do. And then you could set him up on a campaign. So we can click on campaigns. And real quickly here, these are the campaigns that I have added. And I'm going to show you later how to add them. But I could just real quickly add him to the homeowner home security tips. And then once a month, he's going to be getting an email giving him, here's how the best way to protect your home. And I'll show you later how you can see what all those emails are. But very quickly, several things to do. So if we wanted to mark Jim as done, you can go to mark done, and it's going to ask you, what did you do? Okay, what was it that you finished? Okay, I really like that it not only has a phone call, voicemail, text. I think text is something that a lot of CRMs typically overlook. I've had clients that I try and call 3-4 times, no response. I send them a text message. We have a 20-minute little text conversation. So you can quickly put text here. And then very important, this description, guys, is key, in my opinion. What happened during that interaction? You don't have to go, you could actually, honestly, what I would do, since I'm able to do like text on the computer, is just copy that text conversation and drop it right here in the description. It's probably what I would do. But you don't have to do that if that's not something you're able to do. You can just put a quick summary of what it was. The key to that is that later on, a month later, when they reach out again, you're going to have a history of all the conversation and interactions that you had with them. So be very detailed with that in what you do. I think Robin answered Kim's question, but yes, there is a bunch of campaigns. The question was, are the custom campaigns created for you? There are a bunch that are created by Coldwell Banker, and I'm going to show you guys where those are a little bit later today. And you can create your own campaigns. You can edit those campaigns. So very similar to the campaigns, and some of the campaigns that we were using in Zap or Prospect Square have merged over to Engage. So good question. But again, stay in flow is the most important part of the dashboard. I can guarantee you, Robin can probably back me up on this. If you are getting in touch with 5 people in your sphere every single day throughout the entire year, you will get more sales. It's just a fact, because you are going to be reaching out and staying in front of people and just letting them know, staying in their lives, building relationships. It doesn't have to be, all these reach outs are not just asking them to sell their home. It's like, hey, Jim, how are your kids doing? I love seeing them on Facebook. What's going on? How's Johnny's football season going? How was Susie's dance recital. I know she's been working hard on that. Those are the types of things that build a relationship with clients. And, of course, reminding them that you're in real estate, but it's not the hard sell all the time. I'm just staying in front of them. So that's stay in flow. And we scroll down here. And again, remember, you can order these however you'd like, but this is your to-do list. If you guys are not using a to-do list in any way, I highly recommend that you start using a to-do list for a variety of different reasons, but you want to have a real estate specific to-do list. And there's two different categories of to-do lists within Engage. We have my tasks and we have transaction tasks. So my task would just be random things that you add in. So like call back Mr. Moxie, of course, fake person, but Mr. Moxie to follow up about this showing. You can go in here and put the date that it's due, and you can put in the client's name that this particular task belongs to. It doesn't have to be. So like we could create a task, well, like this next one, send out 2 handwritten notes. Okay, there's no client that this is attached to because I'm going to be sending, to 2 different people, but that's for tomorrow. When you put dates on them, it's going to link them to your calendar. Okay, so your to-do list and your calendar, it's great when they work together. So that when you're on your main calendar, taking a look at things, you can see what you have to do, not only in your personal life, but what you have to do in real estate, what you have to do all together. I joke with my wife and I, if an event does not get on our Google Calendar, it doesn't happen because we are going by that calendar when we're checking for things in the future. So it's important that you have a place for all this stuff to go. And then this is really cool, something we did not have in past CRMs. We have transaction tasks. Rob and I have been talking about this for a while, and we were excited to see this coming here. And it's not clicking over. Hold on a second. You are able to add in your entire transaction task list for all of your clients into MoxiEngage. And it also can link over to your calendar, showing you what tasks and what things that you have to do. So I'm going to show you a couple. So there's not one built into the system, but we do have task lists on Elite Scoop. Those of you that work in the downtown office, I know Robin has a task list she can share with you guys, or she's probably willing to share that with anybody in this group here. But all the tasks that you have to do, collect and submit the EMD, and it's going to put a due date. And I put this in last month for a different presentation, so that's why it's saying that. Check with the listing agent to confirm the HOA package has been ordered. And you can see here, these all go with Mike Moxie. So if you had 2 transactions going, if you had 4 transactions going, it's going to show you specifically what that event goes to. And so let's say, oh yeah, yesterday I did collect and submit the EMD. You check that off, and then that goes away, and you're good to go with that. So it's very cool. And I want to show you real quickly on the calendar. So this is my Google Calendar. So it's the same if you were to go to your Outlook calendar. If I were to go into my iPhone and look at that calendar, all these items come on here. But you can see some tasks that I have to do today, according to what goes with Moxie, is call back Mr. Moxie to follow up about the showing, send a copy of the contract to the lender and confirm, send a copy of the contract to the settlement company. So these are tasks that I know that I have to get completed. And you can go through, and then tomorrow, as we just looked at, sending out 2 handwritten notes, it's on my calendar. Okay. So a great way, and something we didn't have previously, is they do all sync together and it all connects together. So it's really important that you guys are adding those tasks in there. Any questions about those yet? I'm going to show you guys right now how you create the transaction tasks, but let me know if you guys have any questions.
Jay, I'm having an issue. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to play along while you're teaching us.
Sure.
And I added one of my their address into one of my contacts, and I'm saying done, but it's not saving it. What am I doing that's not happening?
What I would probably do if there's like a glitch like that is I would copy the address you typed in, refresh the screen, just do this in the top left, like you're reloading the page, let it kind of reload and repopulate, and try and do it again.
Okay.
If it's not working, we might have to submit a ticket on it, but I
Okay.
don't think I'm going to go. I'll go to the people here in just a second after we go through this and kind of show you how to create a contact. But
Okay.
I don't think there's anything that you're doing wrong.
It let me do the neighborhood news, but it won't let me save the address. But anyway, all right. I'll keep
Within
playing.
neighborhood news or within the contact?
No, within the contact. I'm
Okay.
just trying to update that. So,
Okay.
okay. All
I'll
right.
go
I'll
into
try
people at
refreshing
the
that.
and once we get through this dashboard and we'll add somebody in there and see if there's a step you're missing, maybe.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. All right. So you have someone else have a question?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
So for the transaction tasks, are you manually putting in every one every time you have a new transaction, or is it there like a template style?
I'm going to show you right. That's the next step. So I'm going to answer that for you. Good question. What you're going to do is you're going to manually add them all in one time. And then when you change your buyer to active, when you change them to pending, a new set of things show up. So let me go ahead and show you guys how to do that. So in the top right, you'll see a little gear icon. This is your settings. So we're going to go to engage settings. And just refreshing here. You have some different options over here to the left, but what we're talking about right now is task manager. So we're going to click on task manager. And you have 4 different categories of task groups that you can create. So a leads marketing plan. So let's say you guys are working on a new online lead or just a lead in general. You can create a plan for these are the steps you have to do when you get a new lead. Reach out and call them, send them an email, send them a text message, set them up on a new buyer campaign, all these tasks that you have to do. And guys, the ones that are converting online leads, converting leads in general, have a set standard of things, let's say 12 tasks that they do. No matter how dead that lead seems, no matter how uninterested they seem, they're going to go through all 12 of those steps before they decide that that's a cold lead. They're not going to work on that. It takes on average 6 to 8 attempts to get that online lead to connect with you. 6 to 8 attempts. The average agent is calling once, emailing once, and maybe texting, and that's it. Okay. So anyways, that's what a leads marketing plan can do for you guys, because you're going to do it every single time, or it's going to be sitting there on your to-do list or on your calendar, looking right in your face saying, hey, Kim, text again. And you're like, I don't want to, but that's what you need to do. So a marketing plan is another one that you could do, just a general marketing plan. And then the buyer plan and the seller plan. So these are going to be kind of what we're talking about. The biggest ones are when you have a pending buyer, a pending seller. So you would go to customize, and I'm going to click into here. And this does take a little bit of time the first time you do it, because you're having to put in all the tasks. But the key is, guys, that you're only doing this one time. So I don't know, 20 minutes to an hour's worth of time, depending on how quick you are on the computer. And all you're doing, so what I did is I took Robin's list and I did change some of it to me. And the reason why we don't, and the Moxie didn't put in one list for everybody, is that Deborah might do things a little bit different than Malin, that might be a little bit different than Lisa, that might be a little bit different than Kim. So you're able to cater it to what your business plan is and what you plan to do. So within the buyer plan, you have 3 sections. You have a buyer prospect, okay, which I didn't put any tasks in for that one yet. You have active tasks. So you have an active buyer. So this is an active task for this buyer could be set them up on a MLS search, send them whatever it is that you're doing with your active buyers, follow up calls, call them in a week, see how they're doing. Then once you get under contract, you have the pending tasks. And this is the one that I have filled out completely. And you can put the dates that these are due, and it goes off of, I think it goes off of when you hit the switch that they're pending. So day 1, order the home inspection and radon test immediately. Order the well and septic inspections. Day 2, going through all these different things, and you label the dates on here. Some of those might have to be adjusted per your contract, per that person, and you can change those dates individually for each task. but you want to kind of have a general, this is what it's going to be for each person. I kind of went off a 30-day close. So if you had, and that's, majority of the time we're in that time frame, but if you had a 60-day close, you're gonna have to go in and change the closing date and stuff like that for that particular buyer. But the way you do it is you go up here to add a task. And once the tasks are in here, they're all saved for you. So if you want to create a different list or catering that list, you can just quickly add those in there. But if I wanted to do a new task, so this is what I did for each one. I went through from my outside list, wherever you guys have your current list right now, and I just highlighted it. Well, I didn't do it from here, but you take it from like your Word document and you copy it, you paste it in here, and it's telling me the name already exists. So we'll just call this one. You can put in a description if you'd like some more details on it. You change the date that it's due, the day that it's due on, and then you add it, and then you're done. And I just went through and it lays them all out right on here. And you could go in, let's see here, and we can edit the details. So if we say, oh, well, we don't want the home inspection to be on day one, we can go in here and update that. And it's giving me a warning because it's saying these are already being used. So it'll impact all the plans that are currently using it. So you just want to be careful with that. So I'm not going to change mine, but you could edit that. Kim, does that answer your question? And are there any other questions about how to add tasks? Go ahead, Malin. You're on mute.
How about now? How about now?
I can hear you.
All right, yeah, now Brian can hear me. Okay. No, this task list. I'm creating a buyer. I'm creating a task list first, I guess, and then putting it under a buyer's name. So buyer A has this task list. Now I come up with a buyer B tomorrow, God told me, if I do.
Yeah.
And do they get the same task list?
They get the same task list, but, well, let's do a little example here. Cancel out of this. So
what I'm saying, Jay, is it seems to me if I'm using one list for 2 or more people, they're all getting the same dates done. And I know that's not so. So where's the change happening?
Right. So the change happens. So it starts off on whatever date you switch them to active. So, and it makes it, let me show you when we go back to our task list. These tasks have the buyer's name beside them. So this has Mike Moxie. So if we go in, and I'll just pull myself up here as another example. Oh, I'm in here as a seller. Let's see, let me find Mike's make-believe wife, Michaela. Let's say they're buying houses separately, okay? his sister, okay? Mike's sister. And right now, she is a buyer. We finished her marketing tasks. So when you start a buyer off, they start in this marketing zone. So remember when I showed you the task list, you could have a marketing task list. You switch them to a prospect. Then the prospect list comes up. Now they're active. This is an active search one. I haven't created a list for that, but then you have your active list. Now, when I switch Michaela to pending, what's the estimated close date? So we're under contract with Michaela. We're going to go and say, what are we at? April 28th. We're going to go to a May 30th closing date. Are you ready to move this transaction forward? Yes. Oh, it wants, let's see, I don't know if let's go. See, it's real. I want your MLS number because it's going to actually populate the information for you. I'm just going to click non-MLS just so we can move forward. You're going to go through and put all the details of this property, this transaction in here. Be very detailed because this is going to connect saved information for them once they close. This is the closing date is going to set you up with house anniversaries in the future. So be very detailed with that and updating it if you need to. Okay. And you don't want to do the closing date until it's done because right now we just have the estimated closing date. Go ahead, Malin.
Yeah, DTR, is there any coordination with this thing at all, or are we just doing it twice?
No, it's not going to be connected as far as I know to DTR.
So
that will be separate. So this is more for your personal documentation on that, but the information is connected to the MLS. So when it closes, it does come through into this system. It populates into your goals without you having to do that. So if you didn't add these people in like we're doing, it's still going to populate in for you.
Okay.
I think it also
Okay. You're muted now, so I don't.
Hold on one sec. Let me mute this. I think it also connects with Broker Wolf. And then, so like your commission check will be populated in under your goals. So you can keep track of your total income for the year as well.
Yeah. I think that is correct. And it's a
correct in
great
that,
talking.
Jay?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, stuff with DT, all those things like all your forms and everything that you need to be in DTR for, that's still gonna have to be uploaded in DTR. You won't be putting the forms in here. So you're not really doing that stuff twice.
The DTR's got that, the detail sheet there at the front end for each transaction. You're putting in all the names, the dates, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so that's going to be, yeah, so they're separate from that. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to be doing the listing cover sheet. This is more for your ongoing, like that listing cover sheet you probably never look at again personally, and you don't have that information. So this is going to be for you to look at. So when you go back to talk to Michaela 2 years from now, you know the closing dates, you know all that stuff.
No,
So
it's not the cover sheets. It's that form right at the beginning of DTR when you're creating a new system, a new transaction. You don't talk
yeah,
about.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would have to, I mean, that's a requirement, DTR. This is not a requirement, but I would recommend doing this as far as, you know, keeping track of everything.
Okay, thank you.
So let's see if it'll let us stop here, but you want to put in as much details as possible. You can change the commission percentage in here. We're gonna go to done. And now we have the details of what's going on. When we go into Michaela, we have all the new tasks. Okay, so now her tasks due tomorrow, the 30th. And when we go back, hopefully I don't know how quickly this updates, if it needs a little bit of time, but let's see here. This might take a little bit of time to pop. Oh, okay, here we go. So all this stuff up here at the top, it's in red, it's past due. Okay, I need to go through and we can, you know, check all these things off because it's saying, look, Malin, you didn't do this one, you didn't do this one, you didn't do this one. As we scroll down here and we got rid of all the old dates, you can also go in and update the dates. So if you needed to change the date, you can just change it in here. But we scroll down here. Now we have our new one that's due tomorrow. For Michaela, we have all of her tasks. Does that answer your question, Malin? So now we have for Michaela, and then we have Mike, and it says it right on here. Although they look very similar, you would have totally different names, and it would be very clear as to what clients you had to do. But as you guys get busy, as you have 2, 3, 4 things going on, we have a lot of tasks and a lot of things, and even the best forget things and drop things off. And this is a way for you to be able to not forever forget a task, because they're all going to be right in front of you until you click the box to check it off. So really awesome feature. Take the time to copy and paste in all these tasks, really go in and create a to-do list. Think about, you know, sit down, any one of you, and think about like your last buyer that you had, or if you're a new agent, pick the brain of another agent and say, hey, when you sit down with the buyer, what are you doing? What are the steps that you're doing? And create those steps even before you have, before you've gone through that transaction, if you're brand new, and put those on there, and then go back into the, going back to the task manager here, and create your leads marketing, your buyer plan, your leads marketing plan, and put those all in there. Because as you put your clients through the different stages, like I just showed you with Michaela, she was a prospect, then active, then pending. All those new tasks populate for you guys, and you'll be surprised, some of you, and some of you won't be surprised, is how much more efficient you're going to be, and how many more clients that you're going to be able to work with when you're going through and doing all these tasks. Because what happens is, in the beginning, you can do it all. Just you're being very careful. You're going through all the steps, but then you start to get a little bit lazy, and you start to get a little bit, you know, busy, and you got all this stuff going on. And you're just trying to make sure, putting out fires and making sure everything's okay, and you start to forget the key things you need to be doing. So that is really cool and really powerful. Let's see. That's
so Jay.
Yes.
If you lose that, all right, let's say you put your MLS number in and you lose you don't get the ratified contract. It's now, because I went ahead and was trying to move forward, and now I want to go back because I would like to keep them in the marketing zone.
Mhm.
It's now asking me, do I want to delete that contact? How do I get it to go back to the marketing when I've
That I don't
committed to
know
that?
right off, Deborah. I haven't, I know when it says, are you sure you want to go to pending? You can't go back to being a prospect. I know it gives you that warning in there. So I don't know if there's a way to directly go back. I will say, for the future reference, you don't want to change them to pending until you have a fully ratified contract, because then you actually do have, of course, those sometimes fall out. I'll have to, I got some notes here. I'll have to see to
No, I
check
think you have to
on how to
delete
go
the whole
backwards from pending to a prospect.
Yeah, it
So I'll
looks
have to
like you have
check
to
on that.
delete them and then put them back in.
Delete the contact.
It's asking me, delete to remove it permanently from records.
Yeah, let me see.
Deactivated to record. This is a lost deal or a potential.
Oh, okay,
deal.
yeah. So Michaela Moxie, delete or so I thought you meant the client. So delete or deactivate the transaction. So that's this stuff that we just created together. Please confirm this deal is a lost deal or potential deal. Delete it. You're about to permanently delete. See, okay, it's saying you're going to delete her. Well, she's just fake, so I can delete her to see what happens while we're doing it live here. Deleted transaction. Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah,
she's
it
still
didn't delete
here.
them. Okay. Yeah. Okay,
It sounds
cool.
like it's going to delete the buyer, but it doesn't delete them. It just deleted that transaction. So now she doesn't have those tasks, and probably when we go back to our dashboard, they should be gone. So yeah, so that's how you do that. Let's make sure she's gone. Yep, all those tasks are gone for her. So you don't have to go back and delete them one by one. So good question. I don't have to look it up either. So below to-do list, I have the calendar, and there's also a tab up here at the top for calendar. I actually like going into the calendar view better this way because it gives you a better look of what's going on. And you can see it'll also pull in items that you have on your calendar that are not in Moxie. So like a weekly marketing meeting that I have with Angel is pulled into this. And this calendar that I use in here is not my main calendar. So there would be like tons of events pulled in. So you do want to make sure that whatever calendar you link it with, and you can go over here and take off the different things also. So the default calendar took off those meetings in here, but it's pretty cool to bring in your clients' birthdays, anniversaries, house anniversaries, and transaction tasks right into the calendar view for you. Okay. So you can see those up here. I think you can also mark them done within the calendar. So I'm like, oh, that's done. And now it took that one away. So it's really cool as you're able to take that out at the same time. So very cool. Your calendar's integrated back and forth between Outlook and here, or Gmail and here. So it's all in there. Okay. Heading back to the dashboard, just a couple more things in here. Your activity feed. So I showed you guys the neighborhood news. We went and looked at that email. I get a pop-up on here that one of the subscribers had opened the neighborhood news. I see that Jay Parrish, my fake client, had opened a save search email for the 520 William Street area. He did that a bunch of times yesterday. And it's kind of just giving you a quick rundown of the last week of what your clients have been doing. Okay. And what they've, so it's showing neighborhood news. Somebody viewed a seller presentation. So that is up in Moxie Present. I had a seller presentation. It's showing that was viewed. So if you sent that to your client, or if you did your seller presentation, that's showing up in here. A campaign email is sent out. So there's not anything you can click with and interact with, but you can just see what's going on. It'll tell you, hey, Jane Wright, I haven't talked to her in a while, but she's been reading my emails. It's a scent to go and reach out to her. Your sales flow. This will show you the people that you have checked as marketing, your prospects, your active clients, and your pending clients. Okay, so these are just kind of made up ones for me, but as you're going through, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. If you have any active listings, those will show right here. And your most recent sold properties, I think within the last, I don't know, 6 months, it looks like probably in there, will populate in here. And you can actually go in and it'll give you the details of that listing that you had. It'll show you the clients that they're linked with. If you link that all up, actually, this is not, sorry, took me to the wrong one. So right on here, it shows Steve Spicer and Carol Spicer, their clients, and I connected them to this. So you can actually go and back connect everybody to it. And then your goals. So you're able to go in, and I forget now, and maybe Robin knows, I don't know if you set the goals inside of here. I think you set it outside of this, correct?
I think I set it in there, actually.
Maybe it's, oh, here you go. Yep. So in your goals tab, it gives you a whole bunch of things about what's going on with your business this year. Like she was saying, it brings in the amount of the transaction, the commission, all that type of stuff. Up here in the top right, you can go and click on what your GCI goal is for the year, and then it's going to go all the percentages off of that. Okay. And obviously I'm not doing very well on my GCI goal. So you want to make sure to keep an eye on this and figure out what's going on with your business and what you can change. So goals is a great way for you to sit down with your manager and talk with them and get advice from them on what you can be doing to achieve and reach your goals. So the next thing, that is everything on the dashboard. Okay, so that's your main place you're going to be checking into. With a CRM, just like your email, for it to be effective, you need to be in your CRM every single day. Probably just kind of living in here, it's up with your email. Every time you're making a phone call, you're going in here and you're documenting that. You're making sure you're keeping track of all that. Some people think, well, it's hard to do that. I don't have time to do that. Well, that's what's going to benefit you later on when you're able to, let's say Angelo has a call with a brand new buyer. They go through all the different things. He learns about their family. He learns about their kids. He learns about, what they're looking for. You want to go into your CRM and to Engage and update that client with what's the name of their kids, what's their favorite football team. All these things you learned are going to be what helps you build that relationship and have that next conversation with them when you do have that. So taking notes about everything that you're doing with them is really, really important. But let's go into.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question about that? When you transfer contacts from Zap to Moxie, the notes, it looks like the notes do not transfer, right?
Did you do the migrate feature? Did you do that?
Yes,
Tatiana?
yes, I did. Yes.
So I have not done that myself. So if they did not transfer, then they might not. There were certain things that were going to transfer over and some maybe that did not. I don't know that to answer that for sure. But unfortunately, if they didn't, now you can still go in. What I would do, it's still live. If you had like several clients that you did have a bunch of notes with, just go in and it takes a little bit of time, but it'll be worth
Copy
it.
them.
Copy and paste them in to your notes section in here.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I have a couple questions over here. Malin, I know you said you had to leave, but it will be recorded, so you don't have to worry about that. I think you already left, but Michael has a couple questions. How can we add contacts via CSV from another CRM? So how you add contacts would be that you, now, Michael, if you can real quickly, are you using, is it Outlook or Gmail that you are connecting or plan to connect?
I connected my Outlook.
Okay.
However, I had Contactually, it's my CRM.
Okay.
So I already downloaded those contacts because they just closed on me to a CSV.
Sure. So what you should be able to do, I have not done these steps, but I have added a contact into Gmail and then they were into Engage. So what you're going to do is you're going to upload that CSV to your Outlook. Okay. So Outlook, you'll go in and there should be an import feature in there. And if, I don't have it to show you right now, but you would import them all into Outlook, into your contacts, and then they would all populate right into here. So everything lives, and actually your contacts don't live in Engage. They actually live in Outlook. So if you deleted a contact from Engage, it's still in Outlook. So Outlook, so they're kind of, this is kind of just a place for you to be able to view them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
How can we add our own email campaigns? Okay, we might get to that. I might have to follow up with that later because I'm going to show people how to do ones that they already have, but we can do that. And how can we download a contact for digital marketing? When you say download a contact, can you clarify that for me?
Yeah, for example, if I wanted to do a, we'll even use happy birthday for my June birthday people.
Okay.
Right. So I have all the people in June in here and tagged, then I should be able to download them so that I know who I'm sending
yeah, let me
this marketing to.
See. I haven't tried that, but so what I did, guys, I went into people and I went to overview, and at the top of overview, it shows view your full list. Okay. And real quick, don't let me forget that, Michael. I'm going to just show this screen here. So in your overview, again, it has your sales flow, but it has a pretty cool thing here, recommended actions. So Trisha and Jim, husband and wife, they have a house anniversary coming up later this month. And I think this was a thing early. I think it actually is probably like in a couple days, but it might be later in May. You can actually send them a gift through Send Loop and Tie gift. If you want to do that, you don't have to do that, but it's a nice little connection as a real estate gift to send out. Or at a very minimum, it's letting you know, hey, you should send them a text message. You should send them something, whatever you do for your house anniversary. So it's pretty cool. And then Mac Parrish is my brother who's looking to buy. It's letting me know, hey, set them up for neighborhood news. You haven't done that yet, but they're an active buyer. So you probably want to set them up for that. So always want to take a look at these recommended actions here. And then it's going to let you know who your new clients are that you've added recently and that you need to stay in touch with. But to see all of your contacts, you're going to go to view full list. And let's see, I wanted to okay, here we go. So I don't have anybody tagged. I'm wondering, okay, filters. Okay, so you can go through here and you should be able to, Michael, find your June ones if you've labeled them all that way, like you were saying. So you would click on, let's just say, my missing email addresses. Let's say those are my June ones. Okay, so let's go back, and now these are 48 people. So let's say they're my June ones. I'm going to select all, go to export, and then that's how you would download them into a CSV. You could do mailing labels if you're doing like Christmas cards, things like that. I think this is Express. I haven't used that. I think that might be to be able to print off things. Does that answer that, Michael?
It does. Thank you.
No problem. Another question, are we able to add sales to the goals page? I noticed it didn't include any new construction closings, even though I put them in the MLS. So it should, if it doesn't pull, Brittany, if it doesn't pull directly from the MLS, it's going to pull from, as Robin was saying, from Broker Wolf. So as long as you've inputted it in there, it should pull that into your goals. I know when you are like, let's say we go into, take a look at Vanessa, and I want to add Vanessa Hall's transaction, okay, a past transaction. I'm going to click add transaction. She was a buyer, and I'm going to go here to non-MLS. So that's probably the way, unless you have the MLS number, because you said you added them. But that's probably still going to be listed as not, I don't think that when you put them in that way, I think it's non-MLS, and then you can put all the information in. That's for a past one. Honestly, I'm not sure if we put them in here, if that affects with the goals. We can kind of talk about that offline if you'd like. If you want to shoot me an email on that, but I think you just kind of test that and see if you have a new construction for this year and you go and add that all in, does it add for your goals? But the goals, those numbers, like what the one that I have in there, the transaction that closed earlier, that came in automatically from either Broker Wolf or the MLS. So as long as it's closing there, that should work. I know that's not a great answer to your question, but we'll have to look into that one a little bit further. Did you have a follow-up on that, Robin?
I do just want to note that there is a little lag time. Like I had a closing last week, I got paid on Monday and it's still not showing. I think Jamie reports to Coldwell Banker at the beginning of each month, the sales from the previous month when she sends franchise fees. So just keep in mind for goals, it does take them a couple weeks and probably into the next month to update as far as commissions go.
Great point. Good.
Yeah, my first month using this live and active. So I think we'll all know a little more next month.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just see a little bit more that we can do with our people here. So if you can see here, the filter is still on here. So if you start filtering people, they're going to be selected that way. So we can sort the order over here to the right. I think. There we go. We put them in alphabetical order. It's going to give you tags like what Michael was talking about. You can label everybody in different tags for different groups. So let's say, so you can see here, Adam, my brother, is a past buyer, and I added in his transaction. I recommend doing that. You can go in here and say, oh, let's say that I called them. You can log activity real quickly from them. So you can just jot in what, I made a phone call, talked about, and it could just be, it doesn't have to be real estate related. Talked about, how his family is doing, and you're just saving and go back. Oh, that was last Monday, and then done. And when we go in, so you can see now it quickly says the last activity that you had with them. So very quickly showing you, okay, you had a phone call on Monday. Now you want to make another phone call, or you want to send an email. All that can happen directly. You can copy the phone number. You can call that phone number. So if we go in here and take a look at a particular client, right now he's not set as anything. Do we want to make him a prospect? Okay, we could do that. There's no task set up for him. You can go in and look at their profile. So has their phone number, email, has their birth date, the house anniversary in here, and that they're a past buyer. You can quickly add them to subscriptions. So the two subscriptions that you can add them to are your neighborhood news that we talked about, or you can add them to your listing announcements. So anytime that you have a just listed or a just sold email announcement to send out, anybody you've added to this would get your new listings, would get your new closings, showing that your sphere, that you're busy, that you're active, that you're currently selling homes. So you can add them to that. You can go in and I think, let me go back here. I think we can bulk add people. I'm just learning some of this too. So, whoops, that's the wrong one. If we can bulk add them, go to view full list. So if I select 3 people here and you go up here to add to, you can do a lot of different things. You could add them to a group, which is, labeling. You can edit your groups. You can have like a sphere of influence group. You could have a family group. You can start labeling and breaking people out. You could add them all to a campaign at the same time. You could add them all to neighborhood news. If you do quick, that's going to add them all to their zip codes. You can add them all to listing announcements. You could make them all a past seller, a past buyer, personal, or collaborator. Now, I don't know how many, contacts that you have, but they have a really cool categorize wizard right here. So let me deselect these. We're going to go to the categorize wizard. It's very important you do these steps when you're getting set up, because you want to organize. It does take some time, but you want to organize your people right away. So you can go through here Aaron was a client. I sold his home. So we're going to go to client, and you can do several different things here. You could create a marketing plan. You could make them a seller prospect. You could make a buyer prospect. They've moved out of the area, so I'm not going to make them a seller prospect because they now live in Pennsylvania. So I'm just going to go back here. But you can go through and label all your people and start adding them into. So like if I were to make him a seller prospect, now he's moved into the prospect zone. Okay, it doesn't, just showing you that. And you can go through here and say, oh, I'm actually not even sure who this person is. Non-client. Are they personal, collaborator, or do you want to remove them from Engage? So you can remove them and they won't show up in there anymore. So like this person was a non-client. We'll say this is a banker, we'll say a collaborator, and they're designated as a collaborator. So depending on how you label them, so as this is a non-client, personal, designated as personal. So they won't pop up necessarily as, certain things. They're going to kind of filter them into different funnels based on how you label them. But go through here and do this for every single one of the people that you've put engage. Start labeling them, start mapping this out, because the more you do, the more the system's going to help cater to certain people what they want you to do. Okay. So it does take some time to get all set up, but it's going to be well worth your time because your clients are going to be labeled. I do recommend going in and adding in those past transactions like I was telling you about. So if I were to go to, I'm trying to think of, we'll just do go back to my people. And so let's say with Aaron, we're going to add a transaction. He was a seller. And I would go through and put in all the information in here, put in the MLS number, and it starts to pull stuff up off of it. Go through here. You want to make sure the associated clients. So let's see if I can remember his wife, Cassidy. So she is also a part of this. You can put everything in. Once you pull up the MLS information, I don't have that in front of me right now. It's actually going to pull out more information for you, showing you when it closed. But then I can go in here and see past deals that you did with them. So if I go to another client who I've done this for, so I can see that 20 Swan Drive, I closed with Carol. So it kind of gives you a heads up of past things that you've done with clients. So I do recommend going back and putting all that data in so that you have that information for your clients in there. Okay. What else? Oh, okay. So let's go to, so this little button here, well, activity, let me see if I can find a good one for activity. So the activity tab is important here. It's kind of like the history of everything that you've done with that client. Email campaign sent out. Okay, this message couldn't be delivered. Why couldn't that be delivered? Do I have their email in there incorrectly? Campaign opened, all the different things. If you were to make a phone call, so like if we go to Adam, who we just added in phone call for, right here, talked about how his family is doing 3 days ago. So if you did a text message, this is where it's going to be a complete history. So when that person calls you and you hadn't talked to them in a few months, you pop their account up, you go into the activity and you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember I talked to him about, XYZ. And it's easy to be able to get that conversation going, or they think you have an amazing memory, but it's really that you've just been documenting as you go along. Okay. But this faves and saves right here is when you set your clients up on a search. Okay, so Engage is linked to your Moxie website, and your Moxie website has an IDX, which means they can search the entire MLS, and everything is going to be under your name. When they're searching, your picture is going to be there. So we're going to go to faves and saves. So this is going to show you a save search that either you've created or they've created. Okay, so we have this one right here, and any of the properties that they've favorited. So if we want to create a new search, and actually I'll go to a different person here because it'll look different for you all when you're doing it. So if we go to phase and saves and create a search. So this shows you there's been no searches to show. So we're going to create a search. It's actually going to take you to a map, and this looks like the IDX on your site. So we're going to go in here and we're going to change this to 22401. Okay, so and it's right now it was changed the price point to our client's max is 525. So now we're only going to see homes in 22401 that are under 525. Okay, so we have 12 listings showing up right here. And you can see here, this is the area that fits under. You can do several different things. You can do a radius of like mileage. You can draw out like you're used to doing. You can actually have it show the public schools on the map. Let's see how, I forget how that does. I think it does zoom in on it. Or that's just showing you where a particular school is. You can see here, it's showing, and if I go and click on Hugh Mercer school boundaries, and I think that highlighted the whole area here. So anyways, you can get in here and kind of get into a lot of details with that. So I'm going to exit out of that.
Can you do multiple zip codes?
Well, let's try here. It does not, let's see here. Look like, let's see if I can try it. What you would probably do in that case is you would create, because I don't think it's, yeah, it doesn't look like it's because not including photos in there. You would create, I'm sorry.
It looked like it did it, but no.
Did it do it?
Not, maybe not.
Well, it wasn't, I didn't see that it was, oh, maybe. All right, let's do this. 22407. Okay. And then 22401. Yeah, it doesn't appear like this should be included, right? Right in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would do in that case is if you had to do it. So here's what you could do. Okay. You can't do it by this search over here, but you could do it in here. So we can go quick draw. I mean, you can do it like a radius. I mean, it's, you know, like that is going to include them. You can do a draw. You know, so if we know generally where 22407 is and 22401, you can do it like that. So that's how you would kind of get them in there for both. So now we're including everything in this area here. Okay. So let's see here, but it doesn't seem exit. But it took away my, let's see here, schools only. Okay. But it does want, it for some reason wants it to be in here because it wouldn't let me do that. So what I would do just as a simple answer to you right now is I would create 2 searches for them. So the 22401 and then email and settings. You can name the search so that they know they're getting it just for this one. This is what it would look like for them as the email they would get. 3 new listings for you, view all the listings. You can choose the frequency as to which they will get this. So never, which I don't think you'd want to do that. I think you can do never if you want to send this one time to them, just this one thing. It's kind of weird to rephrase it that way. Hourly, once per week or weekly. I'm sorry, once per day or weekly. Email options. Send no new listings email when there are 0 updates. So you would check that. I don't think you probably want to annoy them with that because they're going to get an email to say there's nothing you need to look at. And you can add this search to the buyer's area of interest. Okay, so we'll check that. We're going to go once per day, and we're then going to save and send. And now we have this saved search for them. It doesn't say any of these things because we didn't choose certain bedrooms, bathrooms, or square footage in there, but it would label that out for you. Okay, so a really cool way when they're getting those, it is coming again, that when they start searching for these homes, they're going to be searching on your Moxie website. If they want to see a listing or they want to show that home, they're going to click a button. You're going to get an email from them. They're going to be connected directly to you. Try this out on your own. Try it on your spouse. Have a friend try it out. Do, test things before you decide that, you want to use that. Got a question over here. Right now I use Bright for searches and auto email. This is doing the same thing, correct? So could I use this and have it all together under MoxieWorks? Yes. So here's what I recommend when it comes. It's always the question, because there's going to be multiple tools that do different things, is I would kind of run some tests. I would say I have one client trying this, or if you have a savvy client or it's somebody that they're friends with, like I'm actually going to do this with my younger brother. Not because he's tech savvy, because I know he's not going to get upset if something's like wrong. I'm going to send him the MLS listings and send him listings from here and just ask him, get his opinion. Now, if it's a client that you're not that close with and you're really working from that relationship, then you might not want to try it out on them first. But before I would like dump all my clients into doing it this way, I would try it out. I will say the one thing that you'll probably be missing from MoxiWorks new listings versus Bright MLS is coming soons. So coming soons are just in Bright MLS, and they're just in those. This is coming from a feed through kind of like if you're what Zillow and Realtor.com and all those get. So you would be missing the coming soons. If that's something that your clients want to see those, then I would say you definitely need to keep that in Bright MLS. That's kind of a long-winded answer there, Jim. But hopefully that answers that question for you. Let's see. Let me check over here. Campaigns. I almost forgot about campaigns. Any questions you guys have before we go on to the next thing? No questions? See if there's any hands raised. Okay, cool. Well, another really important part about CRMs in general are the campaigns. So you have a campaigns tab over here to the right. There are several different types of campaigns. We've talked about several of those. The My Campaigns tab over here to the left, that is going to be what we call drip campaigns. These are a series of emails. They're going to go out over time automatically without you having to do anything for them. We have e-blasts. E-blast is going to be considered a one-time email that you're sending out to a large group of people or multiple people. That's what an e-blast is. Neighborhood news, we've already talked about that, but it kind of gives you some your open rates, your click rates, your unsubscribe rates, how many people you have signed up for it. So the more and more people that you get in the neighborhood news, the more these statistics are going to show for you. There's an activity feed showing exactly who's doing what. Okay, so just kind of giving you something. So let's say you have set up 50 people on neighborhood news. They're all getting those. You want to check in here and take a look at that activity feed. And if you see, oh, Joe Smith viewed the full report today. Well, he's been doing that for the last 2 months. I haven't talked to Joe in a couple of years. I wonder what's going on with him. That's like a trigger for you to reach out to them. You don't want to say, hey, Joe, I saw you opened all my neighborhood news, You just want to say, hey, Joe, how's it going? What's going on? Where, how's the family? If you have interest with him, just building that conversation. And then it's funny that you called, Deborah, I'm just I'm kind of in the mood. I think we might be moving. I've been getting some emails from you, and I saw my neighbor's house sold, and your email told me how much, it sold for this much. I can't believe it. What do you think? Do you think that's how those conversations start? Because I'll tell you what, if you don't reach out to Joe Smith, he might be reaching out to somebody else. But these are some triggers for you to be able to softly reach out to them. And most likely during that conversation, they're going to bring that up. And if they don't, well, you've started to build that relationship back. Okay, so that's what's important there. Listing announcements, these are your just listed, just sold emails that you send out and the people that you set up for that. Okay, so these might be better for your buyers, or the just solds. Definitely want to have those for people that you think might be listing. And then you have the My Email section. That's going to be all the different emails, including the campaigns that you have in here, and that you can preview and take a look at those. So the main thing that most people want to do is send out people on a drip campaign. And I forget, I think there was a question about that earlier. So we're going to talk about that now. So how do you add people to campaigns and how do you create campaigns? So you can see in here that I have 2 campaigns set up. I have a home security tips campaign and an energy saving tips. So we're going to go up here to add from library and we're going to add in a new campaign. So you can see there's a bunch of different campaigns that have already been created for you, and the source will tell you these have been created by Coldwell Banker Corporate. If we start to include some from Coldwell Banker Elite, that would have our name in here for you. So we have a holiday, CB National Holiday one. So we can go over here to preview. And this is going to tell you exactly what this campaign has left in it. So you can see here, the ones before May are not included because those are over with. So if you added somebody to the campaign right now, they're going to get a happy Cinco de Mayo one with a quick little message in here. Then they're going to get a Mother's Day one. You can click through them right here with the arrows. Happy Mother's Day. Then they have Memorial Day, Father's Day, and so on down the list. And you can take a look at what they all look like. So you could just go to add to campaigns, but I'm not going to add this one right now. I'm just going to show you guys some other ones. Whoops. Add from library. Slowly loading. So we have, let's see, we have a seller campaign, a 30-day 4-touch seller drip, saying you want to customize this before you send it out. CB quotables, homeowner closed client. So this is an important one, 60-day closed client drip campaign. So let's take a look at what that one says here. So your client's closed and you want to continue to stay in touch with them for the next couple of months. So this is going to start giving them some tips on things that they should be doing after, they've closed a home, just giving them things about the environment. So you can kind of go through and take a look. And this is exactly what the email is going to look like when they get it. It's going to have your information down at the bottom, your website, your email for them to reach back out to you. So we're going to add this to campaigns in the bottom right, add to campaigns. And we're going to close this out. Now under my campaigns, let's see here, it should populate over here. Add campaigns, awaiting setup. All right, let's see. There we go. Takes just a second to populate. Always trying to get things done so fast. So we have a homeowner closed client. So we could preview it and it's awaiting setup. So I'm going to click on it right here. Let it finish loading. All right, so we want to set this one up. It shows you all the different ones. You could edit the schedule if you want. You could change the days in which it goes out. We're going to set this up. Once you hit setup, you're going to add recipients. So I'm going to just test sending this to myself. And add. So I'm added in here. I can go in and add multiple people in at the same time. And then you hit save. And that's it. That campaign is then set up to be going out to that person. So it's very simple, but I definitely recommend that you get people added in there to your different campaigns. Like I said, I think your goal should be You're sending out the neighborhood news once a month to them, and you're sending out an informational email. So like the one, I'll show you the campaigns that I already have in here that I think are great for buyers or sellers, but like home security tips or energy saving tips. Let's go into the home security one. We can preview it. So they're going to get great emails with really nice pictures, take control with home automation. So it's going to give them some details about the smart home. And these aren't like hard sell emails, but this is, they're giving information, you're giving them valuable content that's reminding them that you're in real estate, you're an expert in the area. And, you know, it just as a quick little soft close for more real estate information and advice, count on my expertise anytime. And then the following month, they're going to get an email, the trouble with TMI, too much information, ready to take, you know, just some quick little short emails once a month. Then the next one, they're going to get safety at first sight, talking about keeping lighting around your house. Did you close the garage door? And it's probably talking about a smart door opener so that you can check if your garage door is shut. These type of things are what's going to keep you in front of your sphere of influence without you having to do anything. Okay. So this is a good time to show you guys one other thing here. I've used this a lot, and this is how I found it done the bottom right and all the Moxie products. So MoxiEngage, Present, website, there's a little help in the bottom right here. So you could go through, and this is kind of, I don't know if they have this on here, create email template. Let's see what it says for us. You can also go in to get in touch. I usually do that and try and get a live person on there, but I'm not going to do that while you guys are on here. Yeah, the question was, the security campaign goes on the 29th of each month. Will the campaign send out different information each month? Yes. So when I was scrolling through those emails, it's going to send you one email, then the next month they're going to get another email, and the next month they'll get another email, Jim. So that should be, as you go through that preview, and there's 12 emails, each month they'll get a different one. So guys, that is, I wanted to, you know, probably gave you enough information, but that's the gist of everything you can do in here. There's still more stuff you can do. It's really going to be building out, adding all your information there, but I wanted to kind of highlight all the main features for you guys. What questions do you guys have? Or is there anything else you were hoping that Engage can do, or that we didn't talk about that you had questions about? So as a teacher, I love when you guys are working on the different projects that we have. This is one that Moxie in general, MoxiEngage, Moxie websites, I'm really excited about. I think it's what we've been looking for a long time. And the key is that you guys are in here using it. You know, that is really, it's going to be effective. It will not be effective if you're in here once a week, once a month. It really needs to be a daily place that you are living in, that you are standing in front of your clients, and, you know, you're reaching out to them. You know, if you keep ignoring, if we go back to the dashboard here and this stay and flow, if you're just ignoring these 5 people on here and not doing what it says, it's not going to work. Okay. So you're going to have to get in there, click on this reach out button and choose one of these ways to reach out to them. Primarily, my recommendation is call, email, text. Neighborhood news and campaigns is going to be a very soft touch. It's just going to be more generic. You need to actually pick up the phone and call, send a text, send a personal email to them. Those are the things that are going to be effective in getting those clients to reach back out to you. Let's see here. So the question about the coming soon added from Jim, I don't think so. I don't think that's probably going to be something that's in here, because that is a Bright MLS exclusive, that unless they allow coming soons out to Zillow and Realtor and everyone, that it's not going to be, it's not really a Moxie thing. It's that Bright does not allow that information to be sent out to any third parties. So I would say, to answer your question, I don't think that it's probably going to be a possibility with that. If that's something that's important for you and for your clients, then sticking to Bright MLS would be my recommendation when it comes to that. Deborah asks, is there an app for the phones? As far as I understand, there is not an app, but everything that we're looking at on here, it shrinks to mobile size and kind of stacks on top of itself, as far as the menus and everything. And I was able to go in there and do that. So you can quickly make a note to your clients on the go. It should be, if you're really diving in and doing all this stuff that we're talking about today, it's best to be sitting in front of a desktop, but to be adding notes to your clients and things that you're doing on the go, you should be able to do that pretty easily from your phone. You can probably use voice to text to put in, longer sentences in there. But there's not an app, but you just go in, same way you can go into Desk and log into here. I was able to, on the iPhone, save, once you get to MoxiEngage, you can go, I know you can do it on both iPhone and Android, and you can kind of right click on it or bring the menu up and say add to home screen, and it'll create a little icon, looks like an app, that just links you directly to the site. So for all practical purposes, it feels like an app for you that way. If you need some help on that, you can reach out and I can let you know that. So good question. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Well, like I said, this will be recorded, so I will get this out there in the next couple of days for you guys. If you wanted to had any questions about specifics on things, make sure you guys utilize the help button in the bottom right. That's where I'm going for my questions right now, since it's all still new, but they have a ton of resources, ton of tutorials on how to do most things in there. And what the live chat people are really good at is also it's hard to find those when you're typing sometimes. So if there's an answer to the question that's already been answered in the tutorial, they'll send that tutorial to you, and that way you can go through it. So, but I appreciate your all's time. If you guys have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I look forward to finding out how you guys are doing and engage in the future.
Thanks, Jay.
You're welcome. Have a great
Thank you.